Welcome to Herd Mentality, a podcast from StoneX where we discuss global dairy markets and what's driving them. Remember that the trading of derivatives such as futures, options, and over-the-counter products or swaps may not be suitable for all investors. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss, and past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. We're recording this January 22nd. It's Thursday morning U.S. time, Thursday evening or night Asia time. With me this week is YiFan Li, our head of Asia Dairy. And the last time I had YiFan on the podcast was very early December when the GDT market was rallying. We saw first quarter whole milk powder futures on the SGX exchange up at or a little bit above $4,000 a ton. Both YiFan and I were a little bit bearish at that level. We thought more in the 37, 3,800. YiFan might have been a little bit higher than that. And we looked very smart during December because the market did drop back. We saw first quarter futures down around $3,700 a ton. But now this week, the GDT auction rallied with whole milk powder up 5%. That's pushed first quarter futures back above $4,000 a ton. YiFan, what do you make out of the GDT auction this week?
I think when we look at the GDT auction and the SGX and STAX dairy derivatives, it's just like proved my thoughts that dairy market is still a fundamental driven market in general. Because just before the GDT auction that Fonterra, there's announcement to cut the offering volume a little bit, and almost around the same week and even earlier is like they have like they heard of news from Germany that there's foot mouth disease detected around the rural area of Berlin. So some people they're talking about it, but I got some feeling that the panic sentiment may be not really coming direct from Asia, but it has some impact or influence about the Asian market. So it's not a big surprise that we see the GDT rebounded, especially on whole milk powder. But when we look deeper into the numbers and the regional breakdown, what really surprised me is that China lead the game again. They took most of the volume of whole milk powder, but the other regions like Middle East, Southeast Asia, not to really follow. Personally, I think maybe it's because of the price. As we know that Southeast Asia, most of the countries, they are quite price sensitive. So when we talk to some of the clients in this part of the world, they mentioned about it's a little bit hard to buy whole milk powder when price rebounded above 3,500 level. But when the price comes, if there's an opportunity, the price can comes down, maybe it's the time that they can come back to the market. So yeah, like when we look further back for the past 3 to 4 months, we can see that a good participation or from Southeast Asia and Middle East on GDT. Probably they have covered for their current need, and that's maybe another reason is they're not so active. But with the support of China market, it seems like the market have some support at the current level.
Yeah, Fonterra pulled volume off of, or reduced the forecasted volume that they planned to offer on GDT, and that did feed through into this auction with the volume on offer lower than what was previously forecast. But at the same time, New Zealand's milk production has been pretty good. We just got the December number this week. It was up 1.4% on a milk solids basis from the prior December, and season to date production's up 3.7%. So the supply side in New Zealand looks pretty good. Yet they're pulling volume off of GDT ostensibly because there's good demand for the product. off of the exchange. And when you look around, like you said, and you mentioned this back on the podcast in early December, that Southeast Asia is relatively price sensitive right now. Um, so if we're seeing strong demand that off of the exchange, that's pulling product away from the exchange, I think we almost have to attribute it to China. You were traveling around China 2 weeks ago. What was your takeaways or your impressions of, I think specifically demand in China?
I think it when it comes just a couple of weeks before the Chinese New Year, definitely the demand is recovering a little bit from previous, but it's hard to say that it's a strong demand coming back from China because that the when we talk about the consumer confidence and when they're talking about economy, not that much people have the confidence that the economy will be like strong, will be like coming back, the GDP growth or maybe like the personal income will be like really strong. Now it's not the case at the moment. So confidence level not back yet, but normally it comes to coming towards the holiday, there's some genuine demand we should have in the market. I believe it's the like similar story in all markets. So before Ramadan, Middle East is strong can be a little bit strong. Before Christmas, Europe and the US demand can be a little bit strong. So in China or maybe in Asia in general, Lunar New Year is the most important holiday for this part of the world. So I will not be so surprised if the demand coming back a little bit. But I have met some dairy conglomerates and asked them about the dairy production. Surprisingly, that the comments heard from got from them, or what I have heard in China local market, it's a little bit different from what we read from the government number. The government number of quarter 4 shows a deep drop of local liquid milk production. But when we ask the farming group is that the fact, they're saying that it's not 100% like reflecting the real story. Because that some of the big farming group, they do not really want to take the liquid milk from the farming group. I mean, there is processors do not really want to take the full volume from the farming group. So what they do is like some the medium to smaller size dairy farm, they sell the liquid milk to the like very small processors, which it has not been recorded by the government. So that's maybe one of the reasons it shows that in both quarter 3 and quarter 4, China domestic liquid milk production dropped significantly. I do want to see that the number year-over-year comparison is highly likely coming down, dropped from previous years, but it may not be a deep drop, like maybe even 10% is not that possible.
Yeah, and that's one of the frustrations with working with all data series is you really want to understand what the methodology behind the data collection is and what the data exactly refers to. Like one of the data series that we track is technically called milk collections from licensed stations in China. So it's not necessarily production, like you said. If the milk kind of stays outside of that system of licensed stations, then it's not going to show up in the production numbers. So that is interesting to hear that maybe they're not down 8 to 9 or 10% on a total production basis, although the milk showing up at the major processors may be down significantly, and maybe the milk showing up at smaller processors is up. Um, you kind of started out talking. You mentioned foot and mouth disease in Europe, and that was big news last week. Now, they haven't found any additional cases. There's just that one case in the water buffalo herd in Germany. There was some fear that maybe it had spread to some other farms, but fingers crossed, it looks like it's isolated to that one farm. However, we're seeing some countries banning imports of German product. You were in China 2 weeks ago. You were in parts of Southeast Asia last week. Was foot and mouth a point of discussion in Southeast Asia?
Mm, it's very interesting because every country that I've been to, like people have like a different level of tension to this topic. When I asked a lot of the major China importer that they think this is not a big deal to worry about. Instead, when they say that, it really surprised me because when I talk to the European guys, it's that everybody's like sounds very serious about that, or even a little bit panic from some of the conversation that I had. In the end, I found out it's mainly because that most of the Chinese cattle has been vaccinated, but the vaccination rate in Europe is very, very, very low. So maybe that's the reason. In China, people not really take that as a big deal. From time to time, that the foot mouth disease has been detected in China, but just the impact is very limited. In the meantime, that when I talk to the Indonesian guys, they're telling me that there are a few thousand foot mouth disease cases have been detected since last year December, and now it's not stopped. It's even like continuing, but like I just don't know why, but the like people are not really um discussing about this. But some Malaysia connection just told me today that Malaysia Department of Vet Service just announced that they will temporarily ban the dairy import from Germany and from some other Southeast Asian country like Indonesia, Vietnam. There's no government announcement or official announcement yet, but we heard from some the MNCs or the local big importers. They're saying that they will like kind of like the stop buying or stop importing from German for a bit. Well, maybe we can say in the meantime, the demand in Southeast Asia in general is quite okay. Uh, there, there's like a couple of tenders on skim milk powder, on whey powder, is happening in Southeast Asia this week. So the Vietnamese importers end users is that they open a tender for skim milk powder, medium heat, low heat. Uh, the shipment they want is ETA April to July. And the similar demand we heard from Indonesia, more than 1,000 metric ton tender has been just announced earlier today that the end user is looking for skim milk powder low heat for April arrival as well. It gives me some, I mean, it's that the way I read this information is people in Southeast Asia do not have like a high inventory level because that at the moment from different countries they're still looking for like April arrival. To me it's a little bit prompt, but at the same time that the seems like they're calm and okay with their current inventory. Let's say if Southeast Asia countries they banned German origin powders, and given the other European countries, skinny powder price may not be that super competitive. Maybe it's the time is that they will look into buy Oceania or maybe even like US powders again. But I would say that overall, in Southeast Asia, we do not have like a same level of panic or stress compare with our peers in Europe. But if the foot mouse disease is continue spreading, or maybe the situation getting even worse, yeah, I'm pretty sure is that there will be a strong support for the global dairy ingredient prices.
All right. YiFan, insightful as always. Thank you for your time today.
Yep, thank you, Nate.
The StoneX Dairy team spans the US, EU, Asia, and Oceania, providing market intelligence, analysis, and forecasts through our interactive data platform called StoneX Plus, as well as full-service brokerage on the major dairy exchanges, the CME, EEX, and SGX. If you're interested in finding out more about our market intelligence or brokerage services, you can find more information on stonex.com.
This communication is issued in the European Economic Area by StoneX Financial Europe SA, SFE by the SFE presenters noted. StoneX is the trade name used by StoneX Group Inc. and all its associated entities and subsidiaries. StoneX Group Inc. companies provide financial services worldwide through its subsidiaries, including physical commodities, securities, exchange traded and over-the-counter, under derivatives, risk management, global payments, and foreign exchange products in accordance with applicable law in the jurisdictions where services are provided. References to certain over-the-counter products or swaps are made on behalf of StoneX Markets, LLC SXM, a member of the National Futures Association NFA and provisionally registered with the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission CFTC as a swap dealer. SXM products are designed only for individuals or firms who qualify under CFTC rules as an eligible contract participant ACPAT and who have been accepted as customers of SXM. Wealth management is offered through SA Stone Wealth Management Inc., member FINRA/SIPC, and SA Stone Investment Advisors Inc., and SEC Registered Investment Advisor, both wholly owned subsidiaries of StoneX Group Inc. StoneX Financial Limited SFL is registered in England and Wales, company No. 5,616,586. SFL is authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority registration number FRN 446,717 to provide to professional and eligible customers including arrangement, execution and, where required, clearing derivative transactions in exchange-traded futures and options. SFL is also authorized to engage in the arrangement and execution of transactions in certain OTC products, certain securities trading, precious metals trading and payment services to eligible customers. SFL is authorized regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority under the Payment Services Regulations 2017 for the provision of payment services. SFL is a Category 1 ring dealing member of the London Metal Exchange. In addition, SFL also engages in other physically delivered commodities business and other general business activities which are unregulated and not required to be authorized by the Financial Conduct Authority. StoneX Financial Europe SA, SFE is a securities trading firm registered in the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg under Company No. RC Lux B 10821. SFE is authorized by the Luxembourg Ministry of Finance and regulated by the Commission de Surveillance du Secteur Financier Registration No. P00000-012 to carry out, inter alia, the activities of investment advisor, portfolio manager, professional acting on own account, broker in financial instruments, and commission agent. StoneX Financial Pte Ltd Co. Reg. No. 2011305988R SFP is regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore and is a capital market service licensee for dealing in capital market products, an exempt financial advisor for advising on investment products and issuing or promulgating analyses/reports on investment products, and a major payment institution for cross-border money transfer service. StoneX Financial HK Limited C. No. BCQ 152 SHK is regulated by the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission for dealing in futures contracts. StoneX Group Inc. acts as agent for SFL in New York with respect to its payment services business. StoneX Financial Thai Limited, SFA Akin, 141774727 holds an Australian financial service license and is regulated by the Australian Securities and Investments Commission AFSL, 345646. StoneX Securities Co., Limited, SSJ Co., Reg. No. 010401047199 is regulated by the Japanese Financial Ser. ISIS Agency as a Type I Financial Instruments Business Operator Kanto Local Finance Bureau FIBO No. 291, is a member of the Financial Futures Association of Japan for dealing and broking FX and FX option transactions, and is a member of the Japan Securities Dealers Association for dealing and broking stock indices and option transactions. The information herein is not a recommendation to trade nor investment research or an offer to buy or sell any financial product. It does not take into account your particular investment objectives, financial situation, or needs and does not create a binding obligation on any of the StoneX Group Inc. of companies to enter into any transaction with you. You are advised to perform an independent investigation of any transaction to determine determine whether any transaction is suitable for you. This material should be construed as the solicitation of an account, order, and/or services provided by the FCM division of StoneX Financial Inc., SFI NFAID 0476094 or StoneX Markets LLC SXM NFAID 0449652 and represents the opinions and viewpoints of the individual authors or presenters and does not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of SFI or SXM. It does not constitute an individualized recommendation or take into account the particular trading objectives, financial situations, or needs of individual customers. Additionally, this material should not be construed as research material. The trading of derivatives such as futures, options, and over-the-counter OC products or swaps may not be suitable for all investors. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss, and you should fully understand the risks prior to trading. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. All references to and discussion of OTC products or swaps are made solely on behalf of SXM. All references to futures and options on futures trading are made solely on behalf of SFI. SXM products are intended to be traded only by individuals or firms who qualify under CFTC rules as an eligible contract participant ECPA and who have been accepted as customers of SXM. SFI and SXM are not responsible for any redistribution of this material by third parties or any trading decisions taken by persons not intended to view this material. Information contained herein was obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but is not guaranteed as to its accuracy. Contact designated personnel from SFI or SXM for specific trading advice to meet your trading preferences. SFP may distribute analysis/report produced by its respective foreign affiliates within the StoneX group of companies pursuant to an arrangement under Regulation 32C of the Financial Advisors Regulations. Recipients should contact SFP at 656-309-1000 for any matters arising from or in connection with this podcast. No part of this material may be copied or duplicated in any form by any means or redistributed without the prior written consent of StoneX Group Inc. The podcast herein is not directed to or intended for distribution to or use by any person or entity who is a citizen or resident of or located in any locality, state, country, or other jurisdiction where such distribution, publication, availability, or use would be contrary to law or regulation. Copyright 2024 StoneX Group Inc. All rights reserved.